Welcome to All Horse Racing All the Time. I'm Alan, your host, bringing you recaps and takeaways of both the Louisiana Derby and the Jeff Ruby Stakes, both 100-point Kentucky Derby prep races. And then we're going to take a look at the current Kentucky Derby qualifiers point list, the standings, and what to look forward to, what to expect going forward from here. Well, first two 100-point races of the year. We're going to take a look, and we're going to begin with the Louisiana Derby results. Okay, we have a winner here. Of course, a winner here in this race. Tistastic, Steve Asmussen, Joel Rosario, going back to the Kentucky Derby. Aboard Tistastic, wins at a price, $17. Chunk of Gold finishes second, instant replay. Who I saw as the best out of these three that came in the top three. He picks up 50. He picks up 25 points there. What do I take away from this race? What I take away from this race is this. This race broke the speed duels, broke down everything. It essentially took John Hancock off his game, going a mile and 3/16. Yinzer challenges him for the top spot. Yinzer always a front runner at the first call. So you see those two going head to head around the track. And lo and behold, they both got toasted. Yinzer, drops completely out of it. There he goes. Furio, another speed horse who's accustomed to the lead. He was tracking in third for a while. So the three speeds went to the front. And what happened is this: Tistastic wins the race, gets the 100 points. Suddenly the Kentucky Derby points leader here. I'll tell you what's my takeaway of that? Tistastic. I think it gives us a horse we could throw out in the Kentucky Derby. He's going to be there for Steve, looking for that Kentucky Derby victory, but no chance. I virtually wasting your money if you're putting your money on a horse like that in the Kentucky Derby. Same thing for Chunk of Gold, who finishes second. We'll talk a little bit more about him in a second. Instant replay. I don't believe we see any takeaway here. So the speed duel really it set up that the best horses in this race, especially one of the best ones anyway, John Hancock, ends up coming out of this race empty-handed. Okay, and also in this race we had finishing in the money. John Hancock does pick up some points for the fourth place finish, and Built, we'll talk about him again in a second. He sets up himself. He does come in fifth place, but picks up 10 points. We're going to be talking about the point standings and what to look forward to after we get through this race. And also Caldera gets off to a bad start. What does this mean for him? Doesn't pick up any points. To Dwayne Lucas, one of probably his crown jewel for the Derby. I think we're going to see some interesting things moving forward with some more big prep races to go. But we'll save that for later. Caldera, Built. Fifth place finish. He actually took the lead for a brief second before fading, and somehow John Hancock managed to squeeze his way into fourth. It has the top three. I don't think this tells us much about what these top three. I don't see them as Derby contenders. They might get in there. Tistastic certainly in, and Chunk of Gold most likely is going to qualify as well. They give us a couple of throwouts for the Kentucky Derby. That's my take there. Now let's go to the Jeff Ruby Stakes before we get to the point standings. Okay, let me bring them up. Jeff Ruby Stakes. Now, as far as the Jeff Ruby Stakes goes, run at Turfway Park, run on the Tapeta. Are these races answering any questions here? Okay, run at the Tapeta. This race, the Jeff Ruby Stakes, has produced some winners before. A Rich Strike at this outrageous price, right? 1-1. Okay, so one winner comes out of there. Animal Kingdom, a more trustworthy horse, did come out of the Jeff Ruby Stakes, winning the Kentucky Derby. So we got two Kentucky Derby winners out of Turfway Park. But here yesterday, I'm looking at the numbers, and the top three finishes there, even look at the prices. We're talking a $285 exactor in this race. All three horses, None of these I see as Kentucky Derby contenders at all. Turfway Park, known for its outrageous long shots. The graveyard of champions being Saratoga, as they call it affectionately. Well, Turfway Park is not far behind as far as that in that department either. Anyone who follows Turfway Park and see the results there every time they run, you see what apparently head scratching results. Very, very challenging tracks. Thankfully, I'm able to do very good with some big winners at this place. But yesterday in this race, I wasn't. And Final Gambit, we had some of the speeds out there early. Innovator, what do you take out of this race? Out of the top three, I don't see any of these three going anywhere in the Kentucky Derby. And Final Gambit, Flying Mohawk, gets 50 points. 50 points, the cutoff for the Kentucky Derby, the lowest cutoff that has qualified is coming into this year was 46 points. And Flying Mohawk grabs 50 points yesterday. So you figure these two are all but in. Final Gambit certainly with his 100 points. But by the speed figures, no matter what speed figures you look at, Thoroughgraph I was using along with Brisnet, some DRF, none of these three figured to be there at all. That's my takeaway from this race. Some of these horses in this race, solid horses, they didn't take well to the synthetic surface. So, which I'm not going to, which is okay. All right. They tried to pick up the points. So, but I'm going to cut them some slack because we have prep races coming up. And one of them is Poster, who managed to finish fourth, he was running seventh for a while. He's known more for his closing kick, gets into fourth. Ian Hardy, a regular at the track. Poster, that's his home track, really, even though he doesn't run there. Finishes fourth, does pick up the 15 points. But as far as the other three, I don't see much happening there. Innovator, I think his Derby, road to the Kentucky Derby ended yesterday for D. Wayne Lucas. Didn't get the lead, which surprised me. And when he doesn't get the lead, he's usually in trouble. It's over for him early. So the D. Wayne out of the picture there. California Burrito, open as a second choice at 7-2. Did manage to slip into fourth, no, not fourth. His Derby trail is just about shot. I saw him as a horrible 7-2 choice. He opened higher. So that's my takeaway there, that the three of the horses that did finish in the 1, 2, 3, no factor, except two of them are taking up spots in the Derby. And I hate that, because you get in a race like this and wind up qualifying, and they're basically taking up space from other horses that are obviously more talented than the top 2, top 3 finishers. Okay, Poster, we'll get back to him and the others in a second. So what is my takeaway? My initial takeaway from these races. My initial takeaway from these races yesterday is this: that this year's Kentucky Derby is up for grabs more than ever. More than ever. A lot of horses in this list that are in the point leaders. And what came out of yesterday, we see some of them that are probably not going to do anything, even though they're going to qualify for the Kentucky Derby. Tistastic, whatever. These horses, a chunk of gold. Even in the Louisiana Derby, because we saw the better horses. Caldera gets off to the rough start, and he's better than the ones that finished ahead of him. So, questions to be answered. Some walk away saying, after yesterday's races, I come out knowing less about the Kentucky Derby than I did going into those races, right? The races are supposed to tell you something. Well, I don't go in that way at all. I come in now with my eyes wide open, knowing more about the Derby situation going forward. And one of the things I see is this: some of the leaders, I could better describe it by bringing up the leaders in the point standings. And you'll see exactly what I mean. And you'll probably come out of this video, knowing more, being better prepared than you were about the Kentucky Derby than before these two races yesterday took place. Okay, let's bring up the Kentucky Derby point standings. Okay, you're going to see how things come into focus here real quick. Tistastic, now the points leader. It's 119 points. I see him as the invisible man. Okay, Final Gambit, 100 point. He wins the, no, Final Tistastic out of the Louisiana Derby and Final Gambit. Two invisible men virtually. Okay, some will give Tistastic more credit than Final Gambit. Steve Asmussen, okay. But Chunk of Gold, another one. Okay, we begin by talking about the ones that are probably going to be qualify and have a spot locked up as it is. Okay, Coal Battle. Everyone loves Coal Battle. The little engine that could. I don't see him as a Derby contender. But he does have a spot sewed up, as does Owen Almighty, who's tossed himself into the ring. Fine. Citizen Bull, 60. He's all but qualified. Again, the least amount of points that have qualified for the Kentucky at 46. Now, that's the least. Last year, 37 points got in. So there's a lot of moving parts here. And what this is telling me right now is that this is far from decided. And by the speed figures of all these horses in here that have qualified so far, the numbers they're putting up, there is no one really who has heavily differentiated himself as a true lead lock here. Serenity, nice horse, Godolphin. This one has looked to be pretty tough. Bill Mott, Citizen Bull and Serenity, those two, they look solid. But the thing about Citizen Bull is this: he's running in these races. He's raced in fields, 2 5-horse fields and a 6-horse field. So you take himself out of the mix. He's only faced 14 horses, and there's 20 in the Kentucky Derby. 14 horses in 3 races. How good is his 60 points? How dominant is he running in these small races on the West Coast? On the West Coast. Here's my take about that. Getting the West Coast races. Hopefully, the Santa Anita Derby, whatever, it has a big field. Don't give us 5 horses and 3 of them are going to be at least 5 horses, and all of them are going to get Kentucky Derby points. That just makes a joke out of the whole system, the point system. Suddenly, Citizen Bull is he doesn't even need points. He's going to qualify. But how valid are his 60 points? How's he going to do out west? How's he going to do back east for the Kentucky Derby? I don't know. He's a speed horse. Yeah, he likes to go to the lead, but I'll tell you something right now. His fractions are no faster than some of the others that are likely going to qualify. So this guy is, he has the figures, the buyer figures or the Brisnet numbers that are nice, but how is that speed going to, convey? Is that going to move over and carry over at a slower track? Santa Anita, tracks like that have very fast opening fractions all the time. So even as it is, he's probably not going to grab the lead unless he really steps it up. So let's see what happens, comes out of the Santa Anita Derby and what goes on there. American Promise. He's probably going to be in there. Okay. Does he have a shot there? Oh. He's not the fastest of the others, but at least he looked like he could lay off a little bit. You do have the D. Wayne Lucas factor. We'll see over there, American Promise. But I'm inclined to not really like him either. And Flood Zone going over to, he's probably going to qualify if he really wants to cement it. Just get above 50. But at 50 points, that should be good enough, and he's going to be pointing to the Wood Memorial. So will he pick up more points there? I don't know. It's going to be a tough field. Flying Mohawk. No way. But 50, he's probably in. So you figure 10 of the entries at least with the 50 points are taken. look like they're really solid. Journalism, he's going to run in Santa Anita. He's going to pick up a few extra points. So you're probably looking at 11 qualifiers already, okay? Or even 12 if you get getaway car. And Built, now again, remember the lowest cutoff ever was 46. Built picked up even in his fifth place finish, did manage to squeeze in another 10 points here to get put him at the 45 mark. So technically he doesn't even have to run again. So those are probably going to be in these 13. And so you're looking at 7 spots left for the Derby contenders. And 2 of those 7 spots are taken up but these are no locks either, 45, 46, 47. So you leave 11, 12, and 13 out of the mix for now, just until it's 100% secure. So we're looking at 10 spots that are likely cemented down through Flying Mohawk. And then you got to consider 2 horse spots are going to be taken up by the Japanese. One spot's going to go to a Japanese horse, and that Fuka Ryu Stakes is going to be next weekend, and that'll be decided there. So you figure that spot, number 11, is taken. And then you have the race in Dubai, the AIB Derby, I believe it's called, 100-point race in Dubai. That's going to be coming up on the same day as the Wood Memorial. So you get the Middle Eastern horse entry and the Japanese entry guaranteed. So you figure 8 spots are still up for grab. Chance in what's going to happen going forward. I will bring up Poster, who picked up 31 points, who picked up 15 points yesterday for 4th in the Turfway Park race. And I think that's the most important as far as Derby contenders goes. Poster is the one that has the best shot to win the Derby of those coming out of the Jeff Ruby Stakes. And he's at 31. And if they turn around now, I know it's 15 days away, just about 2 weeks from yesterday, but if you count the extra day, and you're talking 14, 15 days into the Wood Memorial, and Wood Memorial, 150-25 points. If he runs there and runs 3rd, gets 25, that'll give him 56 and toss him into the Derby. And even if he gets 4th with the 15 points, that'll leave him with 46 points, and that should be good enough as well. Or is Godolphin going to send him over there, Ian Hardy, in 2 weeks? Well, let's put it this way. Godolphin is the breeder and the owner, and the only other Godolphin, Poster is the 2nd leading point getter so far to Serenity, and the number 1 with his points. But Poster is 2nd, and Godolphin, owner, trainer, breeding rights, that Poster has won the G2 over at Aqueduct before, back late last year. He can run well at the track, and he's a closing type, and they're probably think they're gonna bring him back. They're gonna bring him back. So look for the Poster to be there. I'd be shocked if he doesn't run in the Wood Memorial. And I know it's bringing him back. Give him, from the April 5th to the first week in May. He was lightly raced coming into this yesterday's race, so it could have been a glorified workout. I think it was more than that. Just pick up some points, which he did. So we're going to look at him going forward, probably to the Wood Memorial. Godolphin, they want to get this one in there. Godolphin, breeder of the year, whatever, and owner here, Godolphin. This one is one of his big guns, and he has the running style that can get it done there. Burnham Square going down 30. Sandman will be running again. Going forward, Speed King. So you see there's a lot of moving parts here. Rodriguez pointing a lot of these. We got the Arkansas race coming up. So a lot of questions up for grabs here. And it looks very interesting going forward. And we see other horses are running as well. The strong ones are Built. Built now, they're going to be pointing most likely to the Arkansas instead of the Santa Anita Derby. No, Barnes. Barnes is the horse Because what, you want Barnes to go up against Journalism and Citizen Bull and whoever else runs in that race? Barnes, $3 million horse, they're going to be running him in a race where those other two are not going to be around, and he could probably pick up the 25 or so points or better to possibly win and advance to the Derby as well. Bob wants as many horses in there as possible. So there's a lot. Those are the takeaways there. You see the point standings. Technically, it's really about 8 points still up for grabs in the scramble going forward. And I believe the cream will rise to the top. It's going to take strategic entries. I see Caldera sitting there with 20-something points. And Dwayne Lucas, you know he's going to bring him back, even though he ran yesterday, to run in another one of these prep races. We'll have to see which ones. I hope they don't send him out to Santa Anita, but I would expect him in Arkansas, which is going to shaping up to be one hell of a field. So a lot of questions to be seen. Takeaways, it's a challenging season. Very strategic, like a chess match more than ever this year. So that's what we got there. More racing ahead next weekend. We got the Florida Derby. And wow, very exciting season for the Kentucky Derby. But it's wide open. I believe with the better horses, you're looking at about 10 or so horses that could conceivably win the Derby, at least by how they've performed so far. And some of the ones that have secured spots in the Derby, for the most part, they aren't the 10 I'm talking about here. So thanks for watching, everybody. What do you think of this whole Derby race, road to the Kentucky Derby this year? Leave your comments down below in the comment area. Who do you think's going to win? Is Cole Battle a real contender? Does he belong there? Okay, you get the idea. Okay, so have a terrific day, everybody. If you're playing the races, best of luck and bring it home. Ice water in the veins. You want to be the commander of your emotions. You don't want your emotions commanding you. Okay, so best of luck today. Win big, and may the horse be with you.